Hello everyone, Kaoz here. 3 years ago, I uploaded a video to this channel called I Quit My Job to Play Leagues 3, Here's Why. In that video, I go over a little story and my reasoning behind quitting my 9 to 5 after I started seeing my first YouTube paychecks. Even though it wasn't a lot back then, I thought to myself that I would immensely regret not trying this full time at least for a little bit, and if things didn't go the way I planned, I could just default back to a traditional job. On May 16th, it will have been 4 years of weekly uploads without missing a single one, leading the channel to 100,000 subscribers. I don't make a lot of personal videos around here. In fact, the last one was uploaded a year ago to celebrate my 3-year upload anniversary, going over the key to success in OSRS content creation. And today, I want to do a final video like this not only to thank everyone who has stuck with us for as long as they have, but to show you my experience at the Runefest 2025 to hopefully encourage you to try it in the future, as well as the evolution of the channel. And so ladies and gentlemen, fire up old school RuneScape to grind your favorite skill while you listen, and let's begin. In the first part of the video, I want to do a quick summary of the upload I mentioned before, because back then I had around 3,000 subscribers. So I think at least a few of the 97,000 more people who have joined the channel could benefit a little bit from this. If you want to listen to the full video, I will have the link in the description. I can divide the story into parts. How I learned English with video games, which is basically why I'm here in the first place, and then my academic and professional background. Since we are here because of a little point-and-click medieval fantasy browser game for children, let's go over the first one. When I was 6 years old, my parents got me a Nintendo 64 with a game called Star Wars Shadows of the Empire. At the time, all the English I knew was basically colors and numbers. Because of this, I could barely get through the 3rd level, and left the game for simpler titles like Mario Party and Mario Kart. Eventually I got a game called Paper Mario, and despite also being in English, I liked it so much that I actually started piecing things together for me to advance. Between us, I never got through even the 4th chapter as a kid, but thanks to this, I already knew quite a lot of English before officially starting classes when I was like 11 years old. Like a lot of you probably did, I discovered RuneScape in 2005 thanks to a flash game site called miniclip.com. If I struggled with English during the previous adventures, this new game would put my underdeveloped skills to the test. Anything and everything to do with RuneScape was in English. The game itself, guides, talking to people, and in 2006 or 7, people started making YouTube videos, most of which were also in English. So to me, this was an absolute necessity so I could continue interacting with the game. I was watching so many videos that I eventually decided to make my own, and I had a few uploads between 2008 and 2011. From this moment, I knew that making videos was going to be part of my life, as I loved sharing things with others, and this naturally helped me communicate in English to keep practicing. Not to make the story too long, I moved on from making RuneScape videos to something called Let's Plays. I had been watching a YouTuber called Chugga Conroy for a few years, and him commentating his playthroughs sparked something in me. A game called Paper Mario Sticker Star was coming out soon, so I decided to record myself playing all 3 Paper Mario games in preparation for the next one. After this, I continued making Let's Play videos until 2016, and made them less often until I fully quit in 2018. This was the time when old school RuneScape progress videos started popping up on my feed, and if it wasn't for people like Mudkip, Devious, and Alkan, there's a very good chance you guys wouldn't be watching me today. I started playing OSRS halfway through 2018, giving you another example of the saying, you never truly quit RuneScape, you only take extended breaks. For those of you who have been around for a while, late 2018 lines up with the birth of this channel, where I started uploading the 1st of January 2019. I didn't fully commit to uploads because I was on my road to the maxscape, but I told myself that once I maxed, I would make videos to help those in my position. Back then, I watched people like Theoatrix and Asukayan to get level 99, but I thought I didn't really need a 20-minute video to know how to get a skill cape since I already knew the basics. After maxing in 2020, I fully committed to quick 1 to 99 guides and achievement diary videos, which is what kickstarted the channel. We will go back here after the next topic, but for anyone who's interested in content creation, I remember it took me 2 years to get my first 1,000 subscribers. As long as you keep up the grind and don't focus on numbers too much, success will come eventually. I will go over my academic background quickly to explain how I decided to take the plunge into full-time old-school RuneScape content creation, and to hopefully motivate some of you if you are feeling stuck or even lost. In short, ever since junior high, my dad suggested I follow in his footsteps to eventually inherit his company. I took programming lessons in high school and I did not like it. I was like, okay, surely this gets better in college, right? After enrolling in the computer science major though, I knew right away that this was not for me. By some miracle, I graduated with pretty decent grades actually, and then I was like, okay, surely this gets better when I start working, right? Well, let's just say that it kept getting worse and worse. But after so much time spent on this, it didn't really feel right to just throwing it all away. But not only 2 years later, I quit and decided to look for something that actually motivated me. This is where both the stories come together. After quitting, I felt absolutely lost. But one day, I found a job at a school where I just had to guide students who learned English on their own, and our classes served as kind of monitoring lessons to practice and give them feedback. During my interview, I quickly realized that I had the best pronunciation of all the staff, including my boss, so I guess all those years of video making really paid off. From here, I knew I wanted to teach English, but not at this place. I worked there for 6 months and then went on to become a freelance English teacher. Eventually, I got an offer at a nearby university where I would become the language coordinator. Keep in mind that prior to these jobs, I didn't even know how to teach English and just learned along the way. So if you feel like you lack the skills to do something, honestly, fake it till you make it. I started working there in April of 2021 when I was taking a little break from old school RuneScape videos. However, I told myself that I would go back to it in June of 2021. Because of a turn of events, I actually started uploading again in May. And for some reason my channel started exploding. With this newfound motivation, I set out to make 3 videos per week for 3 months, leading to around 12 to 16 hour workdays. Here's where things get interesting. I started monetizing my channel as soon as it began getting popularity, and I got my first paycheck from YouTube in July of 2021. A whopping $750 in 1 month. To many of you, this is going to sound like chump change, but because our cost of living in Mexico is pretty low compared to other places, that's about what I was making from my 9 to 5. I immediately started daydreaming about going full-time with this, but I couldn't let 1 month of this get to my head. I told myself that if this amount stayed the same, or even increased for the next 3 months, I would quit on the spot. This was further amplified when Leagues 3 was announced, and being a big fan of Mudkip and Solo Mission, I thought about streaming and making videos full-time when the event dropped in November. The 3 months go by, and right before quitting, I start having doubts. But during this time, I had a conversation with one of my coworkers which solidified my decision. I want to share that conversation with you because it's something that has stuck with me since that day. After telling her about this whole situation, I asked her, "Do you think it's a stupid idea if I quit my job to make videos about a video game?" And she said, "I think it's a stupid idea if you don't do it and don't follow your dreams." And at that moment, my mind was set. I gave my 2 weeks notice and quit in October. To those of you who are still with me, I want to pass on that phrase that motivated the hell out of me. I look back and think of all the regret I would have gone through if I didn't try to do this full time. And for some odd reason, we are still at it 4 years later. I want to be very clear though, that following your dreams and passions should always be backed up by a little bit of financial stability. I would have never fully dedicated my time to video making if it didn't at least provide some money, or if I wasn't a freelance teacher, which still paid the bills quite nicely. Whatever you want to do in life, make sure you do it out of pure enjoyment, and that it truly gets you out of bed with a smile on your face. My dad is still managing his company, and making an obscene amount of money. But looking at it, I don't really think any amount would have been enough for me to do something that not only was I not good at, but I also never truly liked. I really thought that I would only be doing this for 1, maybe 2 years, but with more and more content coming to old school RuneScape, and with more people interested in the game than ever before, I can proudly say that I have never missed a single week of uploads in 4 years. This all culminated when we reached 100,000 subscribers on March 3rd, and I honestly could not be happier with everything we have accomplished together. So now, I'll give you a quick summary of my Runefest experience, which was absolutely wonderful, and I'll preface this by saying that prior to this, the longest I had ever been on an airplane was around 6 hours, and the fact that I had to travel to another continent for the very first time gave me anxiety attacks when I thought about it. Being a pessimistic at heart, I always think small turbulences means that we are going down on an airplane, so that's why I was kind of afraid of going to Europe. Runefest was held at the National Convention Center in Birmingham, and I'll say that the sheer size of this place completely blew my mind. We got to the venue, where the event was being held, and the line was huge, even 30 minutes prior to opening their doors. We went to a different spot to collect creator passes, and we waited patiently for the event to start. When we walked in, we were given a backpack with goodies inside, a lot of which were going to be needed for activities. For now though, all the JMods and event organizers lined up to guide us to the main stage, and witness the opening ceremony. If you haven't already, please make sure to check it out because it was extremely hype, and both the guitar and violin performances were incredible. After a few minutes of introducing the events, Mod Mark declared Runefest 2025 officially started. We went to the merch store automatically because I feared that if we left it for later, things were going to be sold out. And I can gladly say that it was a decent idea. Although around 50% of the attendees also thought this way. When the line was set, it took us like 2 or 3 hours to actually get to buy something. So if you ever go to Runefest, I recommend sitting all the way at the back of the crowd and go to the merch store immediately. After this, we took part in some activities Jagex had for us, in which we were able to earn skill chips. Think of them as poker chips, but with icons on them representing the activity you had to do. Despite looking very silly, they were a lot of fun, and people waiting in line were socializing and talking to the game. A little nerve-wracking to us introverts, but there's no better place to make friends than at Runefest. The very first skill chip we got was a trading one. In your backpack, you had a little trading card games with resources on them, and you had to trade with other players in order to get a full set. Being the runecrafting maniac that I am, I got a full set of rune cards and went on to get my first chip. We then went to Cabbage Toss, which had us using a slingshot to shoot cabbages into crates mounted on the wall, and then craft a paper model of the Wise Old Man at a designated area with a bunch of tables and chairs. Our last skill chip for the day was the Hunter one, and we had to find penguins around the venue with letters on them, make a full word out of them, and tell the password to one of the J-mods for another chip. And this time around, the letters spelled Godsword. The rest of the day was spent looking at both the RuneScape 3 and OSRS reveals and the roadmap for 2025. And after a few minutes of setup, it was time for the Golden Gnomes. I was nominated for Best Guide Maker along No Monkey, Theatrics, and Slayer Music, and Falco AJ was nominated for Best OSRS Artist and the Best Artistic Creation. We were given seats on the front row, and seeing my face on the big screen completely blew my mind. Sadly, neither of us was able to secure a Golden Gnome, but just being there with the top creators in the space was an absolute honor. After this, we went back to our hotel for a bit, and came back to the Runefest party. I'll say that for being a game popularly known for having extremely shy players, there was a big crowd dancing for a few hours. But it didn't look as big because the venue was massive. We drank a beer and went back to our wives to crash. The following day was dedicated to getting the rest of our skill chips and the talking to J-mods. The next activity was Cook's Assistant 2, which had you searching eggs in a basket and gather enough as a team to tip the balance. Up next, we went to west of a rock bank and telegrabbed some loot from the basement. We then headed to an activity called the Colinomancer, which had us sucking some flavored smoke, and guess what it was? This one was a little weird. We then closed out the skill chip hunting session with Goblin Diplomacy, for which we had to wear RuneScape items and pose for a picture. Here's me and Falco AJ, along Spam and Neri, who had been hanging out with us for most of the convention. The last part is why I would go to Runefest again. The highlight of my entire trip was meeting people who knew who I was, and being stopped to take pictures, sign things, and even talk to people about the game telling me how my videos have massively helped their adventures is honestly all I could ask for. I didn't win a Golden Gnome, but not only players, even Jagex recognizing my work was honestly overwhelming, and I cannot thank people enough for this amazing experience. If you have ever thought about attending Runefest, I heavily recommend you give it a try, because it is certainly not going to be my last. I want to give a massive shout out to the community we have been building up over the years, because I never really thought I would be meeting so many people thanks to my videos both online and in real life. Here I have a few pictures with great friends we have made along the way, and I genuinely cannot wait to see if I meet more of you in the future. For now, I'll close the video with some insight on the channel and its evolution over the years. Okay fellas, so here we are on my video manager, and as you can see, this is what I would personally call humble beginnings. I didn't upload too much the first year of making videos because I was busy maxing, and as you can see, right after that we went on to make quick 1 to 99 guides. The concept of these videos is, I'm gonna help players in my position, people who already played RuneScape in the past and don't really need to know the bare basics of a skill, like for runecrafting, what's an essence pouch, how do you get to an altar, how do you train runecrafting. I only talked about the methods that I recommend using from 1 to 99, and if people wanted more information, I linked in the description all the methods themselves, because each of them took a different, I would say, setup, and then players could definitely learn how to do it. For example, the Mind Altar runecrafting guide, which is what I still recommend to be able to get the pet faster. And a little, I would say, fun fact of the channel is that I uploaded these in the order in which I maxed. We went from runecrafting to farming, firemaking, fletching, cooking, magic, and the last one that I got in bulk was herblore. I got the boring bank standing skills, the ones that I didn't really like too much because they were not super interactive. I got them out of the way first, and then I moved on to the boring ones, the slow ones: mining, fishing, agility, and woodcutting. And then finally, I spent a lot of money getting the quick ones, like smithing, prayer, construction, hunter, crafting, and thieving. I believe I got HP and ranged along the way, but the last one on the account was attack, and I left the Slayer and combat for last because those were actually engaging and fun. After this, the channel went over like a little limbo of like, hey, what do I upload? And after a couple of random videos, I decided, hey, let's apply my quick method or my quick niche, I would say, from 1 to 99 to achievement diary videos. In hindsight, this was a terrible idea, but back then it was like a light bulb went above my head and I was like, hey, I'm gonna do the same thing with achievement diaries, telling people how to get their achievement diary quickly. But as you can see, they are heavily disliked, and even I dislike them to this day because these are not up to par of, what I would have liked the channel's quality to be. And as you can see, all of them have the comments turned off. I did this recently because I don't really want to be reminded of how terrible these videos are. I'm down for constructive criticism and feedback, but people were just straight up hating on these videos, and justifiably so. One of the most disliked ones is the hard wildy diary, because I told you, yeah, for this step, just kill the wildy bosses and that's it, but people were like, okay, but how do I kill them? Which I never really did. So if you ever meet a YouTuber who is not ashamed of their old videos, are they really a YouTuber? You let me know. So, I don't really like my achievement diary videos, I don't recommend watching them, and I never will. I made one final achievement diary video, and after that, I took a little break on April 11th, 2021. I made the Twitter versus Theatrics video, people basically going over what happened between Autoblock and Theatrics in the Golden Gnome, and I recently, or maybe like last year or 2 years ago, I put this in a listed because I don't really think it was, good. I wasn't really comfortable having this video, I would say, public anymore, so I just put it in a listed. But after this, I kept making random videos going over random topics in the game, and this is when I was uploading 3 times per week. In just 1 week, I made my melee gear guide, ranged, and magic, and this week was insane for my views back then. The very first month, I made a video how much money the RuneScape YouTubers make, going over all the views and everything that I got in the first month of making YouTube videos, and this is when I started thinking, hey, maybe I can do this full time. I kept the schedule up for 3 months, finally culminating in a video called How to Avoid Old School RuneScape Burnout, and this is when I went from a 3 video per week schedule to just 1. So ever since August the 16th, I have been making, well, I mean, ever since the beginning of, I would say not the channel, but when, after the Theatrics video, I have made 1 video per week, and this is where the format of the thumbnails basically took shape. The text on the right, left, so on. And yeah, uploaded a few bangers, the Fire Cape video, Inferno. This is where I started uploading my Leagues 3 videos, which didn't really do too well. So instead of focusing on that, I went back to talking about random topics, and we continued from there. I would say the highlight of this page is, I believe, the Gear Progression Guide, which is the most popular video of the channel. We have other bangers like Barbarian Assault, Nightmare Zone, Profitable Bosses, and I believe in the next one, it was Tombs of a Mascot. And then we have a funny one, my Calphite Queen video, which is, not counting the Achievement Diary videos, my most disliked on the channel. Here I joked about, if I have to do it, you have to do it too, for the shortcut for the Calphite Queen, and this video taught me that I can't really joke too much, and I have not really been doing it that often ever since. In 2023, my revamped 1 to 99 videos started, which is when I met Falco AJ, and his art has taken the channel to new heights because it is just insane. All of his work is amazing, and nowadays I cannot upload a video without one of his thumbnails. I'm a little bit of a simp right now, but after that we have forestry. I was really worried that the forestry, not the forestry, sorry, that, yeah, this update was gonna be after my woodcutting guide, so that is why I delayed it. This was the Desert Treasure 2 era, I would say. We talked a little bit about sailing, Leagues 4, and here is where I believe we just take the normal schedule, go over some other random videos. We have Valamore, massive changes, the personal video that I talked to you about, Bando's Godworth Dungeon, a little cheeky expose video, and I believe this is the last page, or the most recent one, in which we basically follow the same format, the same videos over and over again, which I have been enjoying quite a lot. I went over this very quickly because I don't want to turn this into a yap fest, but I really hope you guys enjoyed this little, I would say, behind the scenes of the channel, and this video, the one that you're watching now, will be the next one. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, and if you watched up until this point, leave a comment telling me what your favorite thing about old school RuneScape is and why. If you include your RSN and your username in your comment, you'll be entered in our weekly bond giveaway, for which we will pick a winner on Friday's stream. Finally, I want to give a massive thank you to all the people that you see on screen right now for supporting the channel monetarily. Your support goes towards feeding my family in a third world country and an animal shelter that we help every month with your amazing support. If you want to be part of this list of legends, click the join button below so you can benefit and get a lot of benefits in the Discord, in the channel, and of course in the streams, little emotes, and yeah, special exclusive channels in the Discord. Other than that, I want to thank you guys very, very much for watching this video. I hope you have a fantastic day. In the next one, I believe we're going to go over a couple of tips that I wish I knew before I started playing old school RuneScape, and hopefully new players or even veterans are going to benefit from that video. For now, I hope you have an amazing day, have an amazing week, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.